G'day folks, Links here, and welcome back to a new episode of Nomifactory. So, as you might have tell, I missed the Wednesday upload. That's just because I didn't get enough progress. Or I didn't get enough, there wasn't enough changes, because I didn't really get to... I played a fair bit on Monday, but I didn't really get to play on Tuesday. Because of work stuff. So I didn't really have much for Wednesday. But as you can tell, we're actually in a different part of the base now. So... I've been working on moving stuff from up here. So the ME drives from here are gone. The blast furnaces from up here are gone. What else is... yeah, a lot of the HV auto crafting is gone. A chunk of the HV auto crafting machines are gone. And we've actually started building out down here. So I've not done a huge amount in terms of progression. It's more just been migrating from up there to down here and scaling up. I have made a change to the pulsating polymer clay setup. So if you recall in the last episode, I was using basically just single blocks. But I actually found that was too slow. Even running at HV, it was a bit too slow. So what I've done now is... And I also had the ratios way off as well, because from what I've managed to figure out, one arc furnace can support about 12 electrolyzers of the same tier or something like that. So I've just upped it to... How many have I got here? 3. I've just got 6 electrolyzers right now to make the nether quartz. Everything else is still... All the other single blocks are still the same. I did add a second fluid extractor, again, because the resonant ender... once I put the LCR in, which we'll get onto in a sec, a single fluid extractor wasn't able to produce enough resonant ender. So the other thing is I've swapped the multi-smelter. I swapped the single block electric furnace that was doing the... that was turning the resonant clathrit into pulsating dust. I've now turned that into a multi-smelter with a level emitter. So if the pulsating dust in the drawer drops below a certain amount, then the multi-smelter will kick on. The reason I've done this is that this uses 256 EU right now, but it can smelt... how many items is it? It can smelt 64 items in parallel using 256 EU. And it actually gets... That's just with nichrome coils. So the nice thing about the multi-smelter is the... for each tier, it gets a... I think it tells you in the tooltip. For each tier, it gets a... It doesn't tell you in the tooltip. I think it tells you in the quest book. But basically, it gets a EU discount and a parallel bonus. So I think it's 8 coils. It tells you in the quest book. It's about... I think it's 8 coils per multi-smelter. Yeah, so it's... oh no, it's 32 items per level. Okay. Yeah, okay. That's intriguing. Wonder why nichrome... I wonder why nichrome is only doing 64 then. These are nichrome, aren't they? Yeah. Because I would assume that would be 32 items at Cooper Nickel. But anyway, yeah, it's extremely energy efficient. It's extremely energy efficient and extremely fast. The other thing I've done is I got rid of the 2 single block reactors I had and replaced them with a EV large chemical reactor. And this thing just flies. So it makes resonant clathrit in 7 ticks. If I was to overclock this to IV, that would actually go down to nearly 1 tick. I think that would go down to nearly 1 tick. Actually, it might... Yeah, to go down to like 2 ticks, I think. Math. I don't know math. So yeah, and this is... so this output's pretty fast, which is why I had to... which is kind of part of the reason why I had to turn this into a multi-smelter, but I also had to build a second fluid extractor as well. Otherwise, this I ended up changing this setup. So this I did mention in the last episode that I was going to do this. So now what we have is because to power this and the extra electrolyzers and whatnot, and I think I've added a couple of extra Enderman models as well. I had to increase the number of dynamos that I had. But the nice thing is that I can just keep stacking this for now. But the way this is working is I'm now using RFP2P, and there is just a single dense energy cell here. So basically, there is an RFP2P input there, and then there is an output here and an output here. So the output here powers... is there an output over here as well? No. So... no. So this output is powering the Enderman models and also the single bot machines over here. And this output is powering all of the shulker models and then I have an output over here, which is powering the multi-smelter and yeah. So basically, and an output here powering the alloy smelters. So yeah. So basically, that is what I've done to get around the limitations of the end steel energy conduits. Seems to be working. Seems to be working all right. Don't seem to be having any issues. And I've also and I don't know what the ratio. I wasn't able to. I think the ratio of LCRs, when you use LCRs, I think the ratio of LCRs to alloy smelters is actually higher than this. I've got 4 right now. I have a feeling it's actually tier times 2, I think. So I think this might actually be able to support 8 alloy smelters. But I don't know. This is keeping up with my PPC usage for now. So obviously I think this was in the last episode, but we've now started using RFP2P around the rest of the base. So everything on this platform is powered using RFP2P. So as you can tell, like here, for example, we just have one on the energy converter. And if we go underneath, I do have a conduit spine underneath, but it's only ME conduits. So there's no... and what I'm planning to do is the black lines between the chunk areas, so the black lines that separate the tiles is where I'm going to lay the conduit. So the conduit will line up with the black tiles. So if we have a look, everywhere I need it, we're using RFP2P. And again, it seems to be working quite well so far. I'm not using... it seems to be working quite well so far. I'm not running into issues with the power tax or anything like that. Although looking at this, we're actually using quite a bit. Yeah, so we're using... There's 13 dynamos here, so we're using 11 dynamos worth of power right now. It might actually be 12, because this one's also... Yeah, this one's also speeding up as well now. So I think we are using about 12 dynamos worth of power. It could even be a little bit more. Yeah, because that's draining quite a bit. So the base is currently pretty busy at the moment because I've got ore processing going as well. But the plan is eventually I do have dynamos up there still. I'll bring those down here once up there is dealt with. But yeah, I can tell we might actually be using more than 13 dynamos worth of power. I don't know. Oh no, it is climbing now. Yeah, it is climbing now. So yeah, I think we're using just about 12 dynamos worth of power right now. Yeah, other big change. So passive, I now have a load of passive blast furnaces. Well, not really a load. There's like, what is it? There's 5 there. There's 5 in each row, or there'll be 5 in each row. So I've got 7 right now. But I've basically got steel, which we're making with the EV recipe, because it is actually quite efficient. So when you get to EV, you can make steel with wrought iron and carbon, which gives you 4 ingots every 2.5 seconds with Camphel coils. I think ours is a tiny bit faster. Oh no, ours is currently the same because it's an EV recipe. We're using nichrome coils, but I think that's just getting us a bit of an EU discount. I don't think it's getting us a perfect overclock yet. I don't think it'll get us a perfect overclock until we start running it at IV. But I don't have the EV energy hatch yet. And then I'm doing steel, aluminium. What is that? That's nichrome, vibrant alloy, and these energetic alloy and titanium. These are just ME storage monitors. So you just right click on them with an item, and then they'll display how much of that item is in the network. This is the titanium blast furnace. I've rebuilt it down here. So the way that this is set up is actually not correct. That's supposed to have rutile dust in it, I think. Yeah, that's supposed to have rutile dust in it. That would there we go. So it's the same setup as what we went through last episode. So it's just positioned slightly differently, but otherwise it's the same setup with a single chemical reactor and two electrolyzers, and then cycling the magnesium, the chlorine, and the carbon. But the rutile dust comes from the ME network now. So any rutile dust that comes into the ME network will be exported into this interface and then pulled into the chemical reactor. So we basically have passive titanium now. It's just we're not feeding it any ore that produces rutile dust at the moment. And then what I've got over here is I've got 2 vacuum freezers, but I've left room for another 2 to have a big quad. And the way that this is set up is we have an ore-dict storage bus that just sends, so any hot ingots that come into the network will end up in this input bus. I probably need to make this bigger. I don't think an LV1 is going to last us very long. But yeah, so basically any hot ingots that come into the network, which will really just be from the passive blast furnaces, I think. Any hot ingots that come into the network will be sent to this ore dictionary storage bus because it has a sticky card. So any hot ingots have to come here because of the sticky card. So that is and these are running at EV, and right now these are fine. There is a point where a quad of these will become where even 4 of these will become a bottleneck. But there is a bigger vacuum freezer. There is a bigger vacuum freezer. I don't know when you get it. It is a LUV recipe. Yeah, it's an LUV recipe that needs Naquita and UV circuits. So I think this can be made in LUV because you'll be able to make UV circuits in LUV because you need LUV circuits for the ZPM circuit assembler, I think. Actually, it might be a ZPM recipe. It could be a ZPM recipe, actually. But in terms of materials, I don't know. I don't know when you can make the ZPM superconductor. But yeah, this is the bulk blast chiller. I actually quite like this. This is much nicer than the mega vacuum freezer in GTNH, which is just a big blue cube. Yeah, this is quite nice. I don't know how hard it is to actually make. I don't know how hard it is to make, aside from the assembly line stuff. I don't think it's particularly hard, because it's just tungsten steel, clean stainless steel, etc. And the parallel control hatch is IV. But basically, once you get and the idea with the control hatch, so the way Gregor-Callity multi-blocks work is they don't have built-in parallels. You actually have to put one of these control hatches on to increase the number of parallels. So this one can be made in IV. The 16 one can be made in LUV by the looks of, in LUV. The 64 one is made in ZPM, and the 256 one is made in UV. So yeah, it's not like whereas the GTNH multi-blocks, the GT++ multi-blocks, they just have parallels built in, which then scale. They'll scale with coils or energy hatches or whatever. But yeah, all these blast furnaces, they're all level emitted, or most of them are level emitted. The titanium one isn't because it only activates when we send rutile dust in. But all the others are level emitted to just, keep, at the moment, 512 of each item in stock, and we just have a machine controller. We just have a machine controller cover on the blast furnace. Now, you actually have to set it to inverted. It's probably just me. I just feel like, so by default, it says normal. So when you place it, it says normal by default, which means you actually have to send it a redstone signal to turn it off. Yeah, you need to send it a redstone signal, or you need to send it a redstone signal weaker than the minimum, weaker than whatever the minimum you put here is, to turn it off. So I think to turn it off with a redstone signal, you would basically just do that. But yeah, I don't know why. It just feels a bit unintuitive that inverted isn't the default. But I think I'm just used to the GTNH machine controllers. I've started setting up some DML down here. So I've got zombie and witch models right now. It's like 12 of each, 13 of each, I think. And the loot from those is just going into drawers. So we have iron ingots, we have rotten flesh, which I'm going to use for methane, redstone and glowstone. The reason I've done redstone and glowstone for now is because I need those for passiving energetic alloy and vibrant alloy. Oh, actually, yeah, sorry. That's the other two metals that I'm passiving are camphel and vibrant alloy, which covers pretty much everything I'm using at the moment. I will need to do the other EV metals soon, which are tungsten and tungsten steel. But we'll sort those. I'll sort those eventually. I have the blast furnaces down. I just need to set the coils going. Set the nichrome coils going. That's part of the reason why I rushed to passive nichrome, was so I could spam nichrome coils on all these blast furnaces. And then these are nothing really special, just passiving distilled water, and this is just... So this chunk is just going to be random passive stuff. So this is passiving the wrought iron dust for the steel, and it's also passiving wrought iron as well, wrought iron ingots to grind into the dust. And this is passiving... What is this? This is passiving dark steel. I do need to look at passiving end steel as well, and probably a couple of other things here. But yeah, this chunk is just going to be like random little passive setups like this, and distilled water and whatnot. And then over here is the new ore processing setup. So this will be what we stick with until IV, because in IV we can get the multi-blocks, which will make multi-blocks will make ore processing a lot nicer, because upgrading it will just become a matter of upgrading the energy hatches in the multi-blocks and upgrading the parallel hatches, because all the ore processing multi-blocks are all Gregor-Cowley multi-blocks. But the other thing that'll make it nicer is, at the moment, I want to use applied energistics to move stuff around, so then I can use these ore dictionary storage buses. And also, so what I have is Ender Chest pulls into an ME interface, and then the ME interface, and then this whole area is its own little subnet, and the items will be sent into a storage. It will be sent into a segment according to their ore dictionary tag. So any ores and crushed centrifuge ores are sent into the macerators to be crushed. But I can't really use ME drives for the storage right now, so I just have a storage bus attached to a medium storage crate, which should be big enough. It's got 2 pages worth of 13 worth of storage. And the reason being is that there's no easy... If I put them into ME drives, there's no easy way to get them out and into the macerators. But when we get to IV and get the Gregor-Cowley multi-box, the other thing we also get in IV is the stocking input bus, which the stocking input bus in Nomifactory CEu works basically the same way as the advanced stocking input bus in GTNH. So you can either have it just stock items, or you can set it to just pull the first 16 items in the network, and it will refresh that list every 5 seconds. Which is the same way the advanced stocking input bus works in GTNH. So what you'd be able to do is replace this advanced storage crate with ME drives, so then you'd have much more storage space, and it'd probably be a little bit more TPS friendly as well, because you're not transferring between digitized storage and non-digitized storage, and you're not using conduits either, which again would be more friendlier. And faster as well. And what would happen is the ores that go into the ME drives would then be just auto-pulled into the maceration multi-block by the stocking input bus, which is really good. So this ore processing setup will go away when we get the Gregicality multi-blocks, but for now, it does the job. I have a miner down in the end to... It's still just a single bot miner, but I have a feeling a multi-bot miner would be too fast for this setup. But yeah, I just have a single bot miner down in the Nether, in the end, mining some more stuff. It's mining some platinum line ores, platinum ore, palladium ore, and there's like 5 other ores that intersect as well. So yeah, so this chunk is macerators. I can actually have like 8 of these, I think. They take 128 each, so this is a 4 amp HV converter down there. So actually I think I could have 32 of these actually off of that 4 amp converter. No, it'd be 16, wouldn't it? I think, math. It'd be 16. And then what happens is the ores that come, or the items that come out of these macerators, they get pumped into this ME interface, which is on the same subnet as this interface, and then stuff can move on to the next step. So, for example, this ore dictionary filter says that any crushed ores, so this is a bit long, so you have to bear with me, but any crushed ores that are not crushed purified and are not crushed centrifuged go into here to be washed. So I have 4 ore washers with distilled water, and then I have a chemical bath with mercury, because there's a couple of ores that we want to wash in mercury to get more interesting byproducts. So if we wash sheldonite and I can't remember what the other ore is that I've got in here. What is the other ore I've got in here? Actually, hang on, this doesn't have a filter. Oh no, the filter, I keep getting confused. The filter is a GT filter. So we got crushed platinum ore, which gives us palladium if we wash it with mercury. We're not interested in the nickel. We have nickel from DML. So we get palladium. And we're also washing sheldonite ore, which gives us palladium as well. And I just have a fluid. I have a dual interface, which is bringing in distilled water and mercury from the mainnet. And then this is the thermal centrifuge step. So we have 4 thermal centrifuges, and again, both of these steps just output to an ME interface, there and here, which then basically sends stuff back to here. And what happens is the final step is if none of these little subnets can accept anything from this interface, then this interface pushes it into the mainnet. So down here we have an interface attached to the mainnet. Can I hold a torch or something? There we go. So we have an interface attached to the mainnet, and what happened? And then we have storage buses. So we have 3 storage buses. So this one is just a 2-way fluid storage bus, so bidirectional, to send and receive fluids to and from the mainnet. This bottom one is an insert-only storage bus with a priority of 0. So it will be the last destination. If none of the destinations up there can accept the item, then it will go here and into the mainnet. And then there are certain products that would come out of the ore processing. There are certain products that come out of ore processing that we don't want to process any further. So, for example, purified sheldonite ore. Do I still have it? Yeah, so purified sheldonite ore is used in the chemical reactor with nitric acid to make platinum group sludge, as at the start of the platinum line. So what we have here is we have a storage bus with a priority that is higher than the ones up there. And it just has purified sheldonite ore in here for now, but there will probably be other items later on that come out of ore processing that we just want to send straight to mainnet and hold on to for when we eventually start doing other things. But yeah, we want to hold on to the purified sheldonite ore for when we start doing platinum line. This is basically the same concept as my GTNH ore processing setup, but obviously I can't replicate the GTNH ore processing setup until we get into IV and get access to get access to the stocking input bus, and also get access to the multi-box, because all of the Gregor-Callity multi-box are gated to IV. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. The next big thing is, so this whole chunk has been reserved for a max size clean room. So the clean room, when you use the clean room in Nomifactory, it's a little bit different. So in GTNH, as you start to get more multi-blocks, the clean room actually becomes less relevant, because multi-blocks act as clean rooms in GTNH. So the multi-block laser engraver, for example, behaves as if it's in a clean room. The large chemical reactor behaves as if it's in a clean room. That functionality in Nomifactory is actually limited to this thing, automatic filtration hatch, which is at UV. So if you want multi-blocks to behave as if they're in a clean room when they're not in Nomifactory, you need to get to UV. So that actually makes building a bigger clean room in Nomifactory actually worthwhile, because we're going to be putting multi-blocks in here. We're going to be putting large chemical reactors. We're going to be putting the big multi-block laser engraver, multi-block cutting machine. There is a multi-block circuit assembler as well. I think we get that in LUV. So this is definitely worth making big. So this white square is exactly 15 by 15. So we're gonna make it 15 by 15 by 9 probably. I don't think I need to do 15 by, the maximum size is 15 by 15 by 15, but I don't think we need to make it 15 blocks high. We'll see though. It just means making more plascrete, to be honest. And plascrete's really easy to make. Is really easy to make now. Oh, I guess I should probably, yeah. So I've moved some of the AE stuff down. So I've done all the molecular assemblers from up there are down here now. I've got more crafting CPUs. So this is 144K of storage in this bottom one. And then these are just little 4K ones, mostly for, I do have some, like some of these blast furnaces, for example, have crafting cards in them. For example, to craft the nichrome dust to send into this blast furnace. Crafting cards used to be frowned upon in earlier versions of AE because they could cause lag. The newer versions of AE2 Unofficial Extended Life Edition, which is what's used in Nomifactory, deal with those lag issues. Obviously, you probably shouldn't spam them everywhere, and you shouldn't be spamming them in scenarios where there's a crafting recipe with a lot of steps. But you don't have to. But as long as you use them sensibly, you don't have to be afraid of them lagging out your world, or anything like that. So I wouldn't necessarily have a load of them that are running recipes that require complex crafting steps. But they're definitely not the worst thing in the world to use. I've got all my storage down here as well now. I've got some fluid storage. It's only 2 cells at the moment. And then because we're using RFP2P, we need bulk energy storage in the AE network to pay the transfer tax. So I've just done 9 dense energy cells, because dense energy cells are ridiculously easy to craft in Nomifactory once you have auto crafting. So I've just got 9 dense energy cells, and I thought it would be cool to actually have the controller like this. You technically don't need a controller in Nomi, but it does reduce the energy consumption of your network if you have a controller on the network. But you would only ever need a single block because channels are disabled by default. But I thought this looked cool. I have a travel anchor here that I never use, even though I have the staff. And the plan is that I've got another 9 energy cells here. The plan is I'm probably just going to keep stacking energy cells up. So I'm probably just going to keep stacking layers of 9 because these are 1.6 million each. So if I can get 100 of them, that's 160 million AE that I will have in storage to be able to pay the transfer tax as I go. And then I've also started setting up drawers here. This is just for random bulk stuff that comes out of the AE network on passive that I just want to void excess of. Because the one thing I kind of wish was in Nomifactory that is in GTNH is they have the void storage cell. So they have the void cell. Where is it? Void item cell. But the problem is they don't have a void card, I don't think. Yeah, they don't have a void card. So in GTNH they have a void card that you can put on a cell, so then the cell will fill up as normal, and then when it's full it will void excess. So the idea would be to replicate this in GTNH. You wouldn't use drawers, you would just use a storage cell with a sticky card and a void card. But unfortunately, that's but unfortunately, there's no void card in Nomi CEu. So I've just done it this way: storage bus with a priority of 1, so it's higher than the drives, and then it all comes in here. At the moment, it's just the 3 types of matter from DML. But yeah, and then this is just all the auto crafting stuff. So bending machines, wire mills, mixers. I've got a load of EV assemblers, basically 1 per circuit. 1 per circuit, and then this one is just for cables, and then this one's for random stuff. So there's a lot of circuit 0 recipes in here, but there's also a lot of program circuit recipes in here with the program circuit card. I'm probably going to need another one of these. I completely underestimated how many circuit 0 assembler recipes there are. But once we get to, I think it's either IV. Yeah, I think it's IV. We get a multi-block assembler in IV. That can actually tier skip, I think. Can it tier skip? No, not you. Where are we? Assembler. Oh no, energy hatch limit 1, so you can't tier skip with it. Which is the same as the precise assembler in GTNH. So yeah, you can't tier skip with it, but it's still valuable. It just means that the downside is that you will have to craft single block assemblers to get the next tier of energy hatch to then put onto the multi-block assembler, which you have to do in GTNH until you get the LSAA in ZPM. But I believe in Nomifactory you have to do it all the way up to the end in Nomifactory, I think, because I don't think there's any assembler that accepts. I don't think there's any. Yeah, there's no assembler that actually accepts thingies. That actually accepts more than 1 energy hatch. And then the multi-block circuit assembler. When do we get that then? Large circuit assembler, LUV. So we get it in LUV. It's locked behind the LUV circuit assembler and LUV components. So yeah, we get it in LUV, which is not too bad. But yeah, so that's kind of where I am at the moment. In terms of next steps, I'm going to build the big clean room so then we can get rid of the one up there. And then I'm going to look at it starting in this chunk. I'm going to start building out oil. So the way that I've decided it's going to work, which I might have already mentioned in the last episode, but I can't remember. It's all a bit of a blur. So these 2 chunks are basically just going to be AE. But this row going from here onwards is going to be essentially like first stage fuel production. So, you know, DME is producing diamonds for my numismatic dynamos, etc. This one's going to produce oil, which initially we're going to use for plastics, because that's what we're using it for up there. We're going to use it for plastics, but now that I'm in EV, I can make the tier 2 fluid drilling rig, which means it'll pump oil a lot faster. And I think it's about 24 times as fast compared to the tier 1. And then and then the oil will basically be used for plastics and epoxy and a few other sort of oil products that we need, like styrene, butadiene, rubber for more advanced cables and stuff like that. But oil will be used for power as well, which is why it will go here, because it will be used for power as well. We will eventually do high-octane gasoline for power. And the reason behind that is we need high-octane, or we want high-octane gasoline for the fastest draconium recipe. So the fastest draconium ingot recipe is high-octane gasoline. You can use cetane-boosted diesel, but that's like 30 seconds slower, I think. But it's also a decent power source as well. Whereas it's also a decent power source as well. So it's like 3.2 million EU per bucket. And basically we'll just throw it in extreme combustion engines to make, which I think are gated behind LUV circuits. Let's have a look. Extreme combustion engine. Yeah, it's just they're IV. And these output an IV amp to begin with, but then once you can provide liquid oxygen, then it will produce an LUV amp at 2 times fuel consumption. So yeah, so that's the plan anyway. Is we're gonna go high octane gasoline because I didn't do oil in GTNH. I've not done oil in GTNH. I don't know if I will have to. I think I will have to do oil eventually. But I went down the bio route and the benzene route I went down the bio route for plastics and the benzene route for power. I don't want to go down the benzene route in Nomifactory. I'd prefer to basically ride numismatics probably into IV, and then start looking at oil-based power with high-octane gasoline, which I think will be really good. So yeah, so next steps are I'm going to do, between now and the next upload, I'm going to do the max size clean room, and I'm also going to make a start on oil, and then in the next upload we'll go through the oil setup and see what that looks like and whatnot, because there's a lot of chemistry in oil. Yeah, there is a lot of chemistry in oil. So yeah, so if you've made it this far, thank you very much. I do appreciate anyone who sticks around. I hope you're all having a lovely day, and I will see you all in the next one, which will hopefully be on Monday. Have a good one, everyone.